Welcome back to Taylor Talks. I am Brad.
And I'm Will.
How's it going, sir?
It's going well, man.
Nice.
And yourself?
Hey, cannot complain. If any of you guys have not watched our previous podcast yet on weddings and also on how to dress in 2026, we're going to go a little bit further on that today.
Indeed.
But first, what do we have on the wrist, sir?
Oh, man. I've got a 1985 Rolex Day-Date.
Oh,
it's
my
black
goodness.
dial. They refer to this guy as the president. Thank you, grandfather.
Yes, POTUS.
And
POTUS
yourself.
right here. So I've got a 1980s Hamilton on today.
Beautiful. We've got the gold scheme.
And look, today we're going to talk about trends for 2026. So this is something that we always try and look at and stay on top of, at least peripherally. You know, we're not very trend driven here at OMJ, but we do look and see what's going on elsewhere. And so we thought it'd be a good time to talk about things that we've noticed. We're not going to talk about fast fashion trends. We're not going to talk about things that are short term. We're going to talk about lasting trends that we see, just things in the industry that are going to be here to stay for quite a while, or ebbs and flows. You know, things always ebb and flow. We're going to talk about things that we see that have shifted to a certain direction, and they're going to go in that direction for a while.
Sure. And I think as trends are concerned, even today, I kind of think of us as having a bit of Ivy style. A particular shout out to Jack Carlson and Jay Press.
Well, I am a Cornell man.
Well, there is that. Yes.
With my
yes.
AI certificate.
And I'm well on my way. One of these days. For me, though, trends are one of those things that you don't want to lean too heavily into, right? So you want to find and mix pieces throughout your wardrobe that aren't necessarily super on trend, if you will. You know, I think of like jeans that aren't too skinny.
Sure.
So you don't want that, you know, that sort of 2010s-ish, the indie spirit that was sort of pervading the
Sure.
men's style world. And as opposed to that, maybe going for more of like a straight fit
Sure.
or straight leg fit. So not leaning too heavily into a trend, but mixing pieces in and out of your wardrobe that can give your existing wardrobe a little more pop or new life.
I think the general world or public or locale, right? So it could be regional. There's always going to be trends. So for instance, right now, from like a global trend perspective, and this is just maybe overarching, but things have gotten very oversized again. Think
Sure.
of like the 90s, right? Or late 90s we were in middle school, Jinkos. Yeah.
Who could forget?
I see things like that coming back. So dispelling that, we're not chasing down that. We're coming at this from a place of more of the Hollywood glamour.
Sure.
So dressing well, dressing with a purpose. From a custom perspective, we're never really going to chase the full trend. So if things are oversized, you're not going to see us play in that. But we're always going to play in more of a conservative environment where, for instance, more straight, but it still has a nice silhouette to it, right? From a tailoring perspective. It's not slim fit. It's a trimmer fit, but it's more straight, but it's tailored. It's just done with intention and done to last a lifetime.
And to sort of underscore what you said about old Hollywood glamour, I think about Cary Grant. If you look at, say, like Bringing Up Baby from 1938, and then onward into his later years, into the early to mid-1980s, dying in 1986, the suit silhouette, it doesn't change. There might be slight little tweaks here and there, subtle little nuances, but there is that tailored sort of aspect as opposed to following a trend per se.
Okay.
But again, you can mix in perhaps a fun pocket square, right? Or you might decide to put a cuff on your pant leg. There's so many ways of being, say, on trend or out of trend, but making it all transcendent.
I love that. Almost like if you look at the Royals.
Sure.
You think of, just watch The Crown.
Absolutely.
The style and what they're wearing, there are changes, but the fit and the cut, it very much stays similar throughout the whole show. And I love that. It's a subtle elegance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the trends. What are the trends? What are we seeing?
Well, hey, let's start in the horological world. That's something that's near and dear to us, right?
What are you seeing from that perspective?
I feel like thanks to guys like Timothy Chalamet,
Yeah.
watches are getting smaller. They're perhaps a little more elegant, right? So even case sizes in particular are getting smaller and closer to postage stamps than swimming pools, right?
Well,
But yeah, that's something that I've noticed here recently. Like the Cartier tank, for instance, it's a bit androgynous, if you will. Sex has kind of been thrown out the window in that regard.
right, 36 millimeter to 38 millimeter.
Sure.
I'll say this: we very much loved the vintage. We still love. I've always loved. I think that's had a big resurgence, and this will be a hot take. Sorry, guys. I'm not talking to anybody in particular, but if your watch is named after a person, place, or thing, and it's Rolex, and nothing wrong with those. Nothing wrong with a Hulk or a Batman or a Bruce Wayne or what. That's totally fine. Like I love Rolex as good as the next guy. Everybody else has those timepieces. We've kind of in a chase to grab something that's exclusive as an on whole for business professionals and people alike. We've gone down this place where everybody moved to the same island. And so, again, nothing wrong with those, but how better to stand out than have a JLC Reverso that, Pierce Brosnan wore in Thomas Crown Affair.
Totally.
Something like that other guys don't have.
There is a lack of originality out there, that's for sure. And it seems to me as though a lot of these watches that have been so popular in the last several years really, definitely popularized during the pandemic. They're like totems.
Yep.
I would argue that less totems moving forward.
Yeah. Look, it's not a totem anymore if two other guys have it.
Sure.
I famously compared it to our elementary school days. The newest Goosebump book.
Ooh. Gosh.
Shout out to Mr. R.L. Stein.
R.L. Stein.
You had the newest Goosebump book before everybody else.
Hot off the presses.
But then everybody else in the class would eventually have it.
Sure.
So it wasn't as important.
Scholastic Book Fair? Sure.
I think from a timepiece perspective, we're seeing that. And this is great, guys. Look, some guys have way bigger wrists. Like a 36 millimeter looks very small. We totally get it. And if you love a big watch, own it and wear it. But I think we're just talking about from a trend perspective, we're seeing these more subtly elegant watches and timepieces that people are finding. And this is a good thing because look, there's a whole world of vintage watches out there. It's a lot less expensive to get into, and you can really find some unique pieces.
Yeah, even for $100 or more, you can buy, say, like a Seiko 5. You can get a nice automatic movement. It'll sort of give you an introduction into mechanical movements in particular, which is really nice. And then up from there, sub 1,000, if perhaps a little bit more than 1,000, you can get into the Omega world, which is nice.
We both got vintage Omega Seamasters. And for instance, mine has a leather strap on it, right? And yours has a metal strap. So you can find these things, but they all tell a story. All of these pieces tell a story. So you're able to have something that's a very nice timepiece, and you're also able to tell the story about how you found it.
Well, I think, too, a lot of people, when they hear vintage, they think vintage car, right?
Yeah.
So like service.
Sure. Sure.
And I'll just mention a particular spot here in town, Sumter's, right, on Wilkinson. So often I've popped in and I've got a crown that's entirely out of socket, right? And within 5 minutes or so, voila. So there are spots along the way that you can trust in servicing your watches without facing huge bills or lag times in service.
Right. Agreed. What's another trend?
Oh man,
What's another trend we're seeing?
So let's go back to the straight fit sweet
yes.
spot.
Pendulum has started swinging back, or has swung back. Again, things are super skinny, the 2010s. Things have now, in more of the ready-wear world or the streetwear world, gone to super baggy.
Right.
And we kind of feel like it's swinging back to somewhere in the middle.
I was reading the other day, Mr. Porter, right?
It's a great website.
So many key takeaways as far as 2026 trends. And the biggest, for me at least, to speak to the baggy bit, is not looking like a Gen Z fashion victim, right?
Very Gen Z.
You know, Charles Leclerc, I mean, looks fantastic in his baggy jeans and his Pumas at a Grand Prix.
Bless him.
But for us, one thing that Brad and I in particular have talked about in the store is lengthening our pant legs.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
We both have done that.
Totally. It might be half an inch.
Right.
But it just makes the biggest difference.
Right.
And that's something, too, that sort of speaks to longevity as well. So, you know, perhaps you're leaning into a trend just ever so gradually, right? But it's a garment that you already own, that has already stood the test of time. So I would sort of preface moving forward by saying this. I'd sort of try to ignore a lot of the noise out there and really lean heavily on your own personal style. This sounds a bit catty, but be authentic, right? But I think going for more of a straight fit, more of a classic fit, more of a tailored fit, more of a nod to old Hollywood glamour, that's going to serve you so well.
I agree. There's just an ease from what we do, the ease to the tailoring.
Right. I'd rather be wearing the garment than having it wear me. Right?
Or wearing two of them.
Yeah. And then there's that.
Yeah. Trend 3. So we both have been on this for a number of years, but brown.
We both own the same brown Loro Piana suit.
I believe you may have this exact jacket as well.
Oh, that one. Indeed. Yes.
Charcoal.
Brown it's been frowned upon in the past. There was a British writer at one point or another that said, "No brown in town."
Yes.
And that was with regards to brown shoes.
Oh.
And so I just thought that was quite funny. It's a funny take as far as how formal I suppose London was at one point, which I applaud. But I do think brown is nice in the sense that its versatility is paramount, right? So it can take you from morning, day, and night really easily. And one thing that I think is really interesting are the nuances. So Brad's jacket, for instance, he's got black pants on.
Yep.
He's got a black tie, but yet he's got a brown jacket with all of these sort of...
Taboo?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. A bit taboo, huh? Yeah. But so I would argue lean into the taboo a bit.
Yeah.
Even you could throw on a black shoe even and accessorize around the brown and black as well.
If it's done well and if it's done with really elevated fabric and it's done with the right attention, it looks incredible. We're talking about brown with black or brown with navy.
Sure.
It looks so good. And, I would say brown, I think earth tones in general, as I've seen trends from like our fabric mills and talking to our fabric mills and what they're sending us and then what people are choosing, it's sort of this, granted, people still do the bright colors, but if you got the personality to match it, more power to you. But there's this ability to take earth tones and they all go nicely together. And so it's this subtle elegance or quiet luxury, right? Where you're standing out not by the colors you're wearing, but the way you're wearing the colors together.
Right.
So I think brown's like the ultimate chameleon fabric.
It really is.
And you can wear it with denim. You can wear it with chinos.
And it's not necessarily a seasonal item either.
Right.
You know, you've really got that 4-season sort of aspect to it.
Right. Some of my favorite jackets are this really beautiful brown color that is synonymous with fall, but we'll do it in a lightweight linen blend fabric.
Sure.
And unlined. And it's incredible year round, especially here in Charlotte.
Now you really speak my language.
Yeah. It breathes. The fabric breathes. It just has this color that it's never going to go out of style. And you can wear it with so many different things. So,
Totally.
Brown. We're here for it. 2026, the most versatile color is brown.
And in Ivy League school as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So trend 4, elevating casual beyond athleisure.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have never been on this trend. I would say thank goodness. But I probably have a little PTSD from COVID on all the guys that love to say all they needed to wear was athleisure.
No one's wearing suits anymore.
Yeah, I don't have to dress up anymore. Awesome, buddy. Well, I'm looking at you now in 2026. No, I'm totally kidding, but not really. But I truly think things have shifted away from this heavy athleisure, and I guess again from a lot of it. We pick on the Gen Z. A lot of it, I mean, look, these guys, they take better care of themselves than us millennials did, for the most part, right?
They're not drinking as much.
They don't
so
drink
weird.
or drink at all.
Or drink it all.
Again, these are good decisions,
Absolutely.
right? But I think it has given this false narrative that, hey, I can just wear workout clothes, and that's acceptable. And a lot of times it is. It's fine. Wear what you want to wear. But it now is one of those things where, like, okay, how long are we going to wear the Viore or the Lululemon, right? Like, let's grow up a little bit. Let's get some big boy clothing.
Sure.
Let's take that extra step, right?
Sure.
Let's stand out a little bit.
Well, in our last podcast too, sort of elevating, right? There is a way of elevating within that space. So I often think about like knit polos, which we've hit on before. Yeah. There's also like different textures and so forth, the patterns that are a little bit more elevated, that are sort of less in that poly world. We see so much poly.
So much poly. We can tell.
Just
we can tell, sir.
There's a luster to it or a lack thereof or a sheen.
Yeah, it just looks flat.
It balls up over time.
Stretches out.
It even has a smell to it.
Okay.
I would guard against it.
Natural fibers, guys. Yes. Look, there's a reason they did away with the poly in the 70s. All right? Natural fibers are king.
Cool wool.
Cool wool. So, I mean, but truly, I don't think people know enough about this. Like, with the natural fibers, cotton, wool, these types, nothing new is invented here. There's a reason they make clothing out of that for centuries. And it's because there's a structure to it. There's a natural cleaning, antimicrobial piece to it, right? So we're talking about wool from that perspective.
That's something we stress to a lot of our clients as well.
There's a drape to it, right? There's a drape to wool that you cannot duplicate with a synthetic. Same thing with cotton. There's a certain drape to it, Oftentimes what it comes to is something will just feel off, right? Like if, the guy wearing the Lululemon pants, right? He feels it, the people around him feel it, and it just feels off. Why does it feel off? Synthetic doesn't drape like a dress pant. Right. Can't duplicate a dress pant. I know it's comfortable, but you can't duplicate it. You can tell it looks synthetic. It looks fake. But look, we're also seeing with the wools, they are adding some stretch to it. So I think there's a nice counter there with comfort. Our best-selling wool fabrics now that we do for our guys that travel, are guys that are very in shape and work out. It is a 96 to 97% wool fabric with 3 to 4% stretch. And it feels incredible, and it will last a lifetime.
And the same goes for chinos as well.
Yeah, same thing. They're putting stretch with cotton, right?
Indeed.
But the right amount. That's why we do what we do, right? We know those amounts. We know you need at least 70% cotton in a shirt for it to drape and look like a dress shirt. After that, you lose it. You need at least 90% wool in that garment for it to drape and look like a nice garment.
Sure.
So, athleisure.
All right.
Save for the gym.
There you go.
So those are those are the big trends that we're seeing. I thought it would be cool to do a couple just questions we've gotten over the last year into this year. So we hit on one. Can you wear brown with black?
Sure. I mean, again,
I'm wearing it today.
Absolutely.
Brown and black.
A testament to your ensemble.
I do want to say there's a little bit of an art to it. And again, if I can do it, then trust me, any of you guys can do it. So I'm big on, it's all how you balance it, right? I wouldn't wear black pants and a black shirt and a brown jacket. I would wear black pants, a neutral shirt, like a white shirt, and a brown jacket. And then maybe put like a black tie with it. You got to tie it together. You don't need there to be more of one color than the other. And it definitely matters how you do it, right? I probably wouldn't wear brown pants and a black jacket.
Right.
You know, I kind of like black. You've got your base colors, black, navy.
It's a bit of an anchor.
Right. And that's your pants. And then your jacket, you can kind of get into doing a little more of those things. But put together the right way, it is very elevated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you. This is from Evan M. So thank you, Evan.
Thanks, Evan.
Question for you from Ted G.
Oh.
What is your go-to outfit?
Go-to outfit.
That's a loaded question.
A
guys.
question that for someone that has the closet that I do, and I don't mean that braggadociously, but a lot of times I think, man, I should pare things down a bit. But my go-to would probably be sort of anchoring the outfit, right? Like we had talked about before, with a black or blue trouser. And then wearing a jacket that sort of is essentially unstructured, right? Something that I perhaps could wear with a denim button down even, or just a nice crisp white shirt as well. I feel like that's a particular outfit that can bode well for you from, again, morning to night. You don't necessarily have to wear the jacket during the day. It might be that I throw on a sweater, perhaps, whether it be crew neck or V-neck, and then transition out of it into a jacket that's a little bit more elevated. For dinner, we go to dinner quite often here in Charlotte, and so it's always nice to kind of have an unstructured jacket at the ready. Yeah. It never looks like you're trying too hard.
Agreed.
And
I won't say that there's like a disheveled elegance.
Absolutely.
To it, right? Like it's not prim, pressed, and wrinkleless.
Right. Yeah,
like
totally.
You want it to be lived in.
And as quite the Oasis fan, I never want to look back in anger. So I really think, day to day is being something that's timeless. Right? I don't want that sort of father of the bride moment, which I've mentioned before.
Yes.
You're looking back at powder blue and ruffles, right? And when I look back at sort of like my go-to outfit, it hasn't really changed. It might be that one jacket has a peak lapel, the other one has a notch lapel.
Right. Very similar.
Or even the chinos, one might have a cuff, one might not. But it, is more or less looked the same over the last several years.
Yep, I love that.
And yourself?
Definitely a navy pant and a jacket with brown, some sort of maybe brown and blue. And I love a chambray.
So essentially, we're dressing alike.
I love a chambray shirt. I think just a nice navy pair of pants is my favorite thing to wear. A brown loafer, navy pant, white shirt. I wear white or light blue most every day. I would say brown or navy pant, brown loafer, white shirt, and some sort of brown and blue, very subtly plaid jacket.
There you go.
Yeah. So we got this from James R. If I'm burning my wardrobe down and starting over, what are the first 3 staples I need? Which, James, I'm going to refer you to our podcast that we did earlier, How to Dress in 2026. I think that would be a great one for you. I hope you have not lit the match already. But no, that's a great podcast. We talk about, hey, you don't need to burn your wardrobe down. There's probably a lot of good stuff in there to build your base from. But we also talk about the core staples every guy needs. So that would be a great one. But from first 3, what would you say?
So there's a lovely story about Paul Newman actually burning all of his tuxedos physically in his yard.
I love this.
If you're going to do that, James R., I would advise you to invest in a crisp white shirt, right? But something that perhaps has a subtle pattern, maybe even a herringbone pattern, to where you could wear it casually with a great pair of jeans, or you could wear it with a tuxedo. So I would definitely start there. I would look as well at just different textures of fabric from a jacket perspective. Perhaps go for like a hop sack, something with a looser weave, which I know we've hit on several times before. And then just a really nice straight leg pant. Perhaps even a nice pair of jeans that are a little bit more elevated, perhaps a darker wash, if you will, that you could wear, again, seamlessly at all hours of the day.
I love that.
And then, don't forget your brown shoes.
Yes.
Right, Brad?
Marcus T. I have 3 weddings to go to this year. What's a foolproof suit combination for 2026?
I think of mid-gray, right?
I love that. Yep.
You could even venture into green if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous. I would advise for that particular green to be a little more subtle, perhaps olive in nature. And again, another piece from a suiting perspective that has a lot of versatility. Obviously, the mid-gray can carry you through sort of any social engagement. It's not overpowering. It's not, to sort of use this buzzword, it's not that you're peacocking in the moment.
Right.
Depending on how formal it is, perhaps you're not in a tie. I was in Greece a few years back, and, they typically don't wear ties to weddings. And it's just a fun, chic, very breezy look. So perhaps you could wear like a nice merino wool polo under your suit. And that's still just a very elevated, sort of European-esque, yet intentional, but an ensemble that, again, could carry you, through any sort of social engagement.
I love that. Depending on the season of the wedding, if it's in spring or summer, get something that's got a little texture, linen blend, perhaps, or linen.
A little silk.
A little silk, linen, wool blend, where you've got that heathering.
Right.
That adds an extra element to it with addition to the color. And then if it's a fall wedding, something with maybe a brush flannel.
So good.
A texture. So you got the color, which mid-gray. Everybody else is going to be in probably navy, right? So if you want to kind of stand out a little bit, do like Will was saying. I love those colors, but then also maybe get something with a little seasonally appropriateness to the fabric as well. We know a guy that can make all those for you. So we've got a lot of other questions that came in, and we need to do a mailbag at some point. And also, if you ever have questions, I would encourage you, email us, info@OMJ Clothing. Our social media, always DM us. Somebody will see it.
Even Sir Rodriguez Sartori.
You can comment on this video if you're watching it on YouTube or wherever you're watching it. That's part of what we really love, is like doing stuff like this and sharing and answering questions and being helpful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Yes. Man, R.I.P. James Van Der Beek.
I don't want to wait. Dawson, no.
I rewatched it in 2011,
Evergreen.
Netflix. And then when I had my third son, when he was a baby, he would get up very early, and I rewatched it again. So my 5-year-old has, he doesn't know, but he's seen, it's a tragic loss.
Totally. And just wait until he sees Varsity Blues.
Save that for his teenage years.
But seriously, it's such a loss.
Yes.
Great actor.
Loss for all millennials.
Indeed.
Yeah.